mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. AGI TV mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ, tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Àdànà kó kọjá mórí nǹkan fèrè, bàbá rìnrìn káwí parí. AGI TV, we are the pace setter. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.
Mo kí gbogbo ojú tó ń wò mí káàkiri ayé, mo kí wa lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin lọ́mọdé lágbà nínú ilé yìí, mo kí wa pápá dédé àsìkò yìí, àsìkò bójú ọjọ́ tìrí ẹdẹ ọdún bí tó gbogbo ẹbí ṣìfẹ́mkeo Abíọ́lá, mo bá yín yọ̀ wípé ìjọba wọ́n gba June 12 láti fi lè immortalize ti Abíọ́lá àti láti pè ní Democracy Day. Bákan náà ni pé gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà pátápátá, this is the time for sober reflection. Àsìkò rèé fún wa láti ronú ní Nàìjíríà lápapọ̀ àti gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwa ọmọ Yorùbá ọmọ aládé. Ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé tàbí kẹ́ fìdílé nǹkan kẹjá jọjẹ gbádùn ètò àkànṣe fún ìrántí June 12, ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa. I can say the beginning of the end. Ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣubú Nàìjíríà, ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ àìfohùnṣọ̀kan Nàìjíríà, ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ìmánìfẹ́ ara ẹni, ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ bí tí àwọn àrèwá tí wọ́n ti fi hàn Yorùbá wípé àwọn kì í ṣe ẹgbẹ́ wa. Bó tiẹ̀ ti wù kó jẹ́ pé irú ẹ̀ ti ń lọ tipẹ́tipẹ́ látàyè Oyèníyì Jeremiah Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀. Àmọ́ wọ́n wá fi hàn gan nígbà tó di àsìkò Káṣímáwò Ọláwálé Abíọ́lá MKO Moshood Káṣímáwò Ọláwálé Abíọ́lá. Nígbà tó dàsìkò tiẹ̀ wọ́n túbọ̀ wá fi hàn wá gan pé rárá o, ká má rí ní Paul sọ wípé àwọn táwọn járe wá, àwọn ò ṣetán láti fìjọba lẹ̀ fún àwa Yorùbá, pàápàá jùlọ ẹni tó nífọ̀n tó lè kanná nínú wa, tí wọ́n mọ̀ pé gbogbo àjọ àgbáyé pátá ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ ni wọ́n wà, wọ́n láwọn ò ṣetán láti gbéjọba lẹ̀ fún. Àwọn àrèwá gbìyànjú, Yorùbá ọmọ àlè Yorùbá náà àtúnrí lára wọn bí wọ́n ti ṣe ń ṣe gan fún Gbòho nísìn, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la ṣe rọ́ máa lé Yorùbá tó tẹ̀lé wọn nígbà náà, tó jẹ́ pé òun gan pẹ̀lú ẹni tó lọ́wọ́ sí ìmọ̀ sọ pé ohun tó ń jẹ́ June 12 kò gbọdọ̀ wáyé. Kódà nígbà tí wọ́n wà níjọba, àwọn náà sọ pé June 12 kò sí tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oríṣiríṣi ló ti ṣẹlẹ̀ látìgbà tí President Babangida tó ti annul June 12. Ohun tí fi ṣíde tòní ó ní ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ìran Yorùbá ní June 12, 1993. Ṣùgbọ́n tó jẹ́ pé kì í ṣe Yorùbá nìkan ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sí, nítorí pé kò dájú pa tún lè ríru rẹ̀ mọ́. Àtàwùsá o àti Yíbò àti Yorùbá ló parapọ̀ dìbò f'Abíọ́lá, bó tiẹ̀ ti hùn kó jẹ́ pé wọn ò péjọba fún. Barrister fi kọrin gbà náà, ó ní Haúsá dìbò rẹ̀ f'Abíọ́lá, Yorùbá dìbò rẹ̀ f'Abíọ́lá, àwọn Yíbò náà dìbò rẹ̀ f'Abíọ́lá, kàkà kan gbé fún Moshood kó bá wa ṣe, káyé rójú kìlú tòrò kárí ṣe, ìgbé annulment là tún gbọ́. Nígbà náà wọ́n annul June 12. Ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ òun rèé o, nígbà tí wọ́n lọ sí Jos, tí wọ́n lọ ṣe primary election láti yan flag bearer fún 1993 general election ní Nàìjíríà gbà náà. Àwọn SDP lọ Jos ibẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti lọ yan Chief MKO Abiola bó tiẹ̀ ti hùn kó jẹ́ pé oríṣiríṣi ló lọ ní ìgbà náà. Baba Gana Kingibe ẹni tó jẹ́ vice president tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ tó jẹ́ vice sí Ọbásanjọ́ tí a pè ní General Abdulsalami Abubakar àti Chief MKO Abiola, àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ó ní wọ́n máa jọ gbé pẹ́rẹ́ kíka náà ní Jos, ṣùgbọ́n at the end of the day Chief MKO Abiola tí sọmọ Yorùbá ti wá ń bí òun náà ló já ogbe olúborí nígbà táwọn candidate tó kù tí wọ́n láwọn step down fún un. Abubakar ti rò pé òun ni wọ́n máa yàn ní igbákejì, wọn ò yan Abubakar o, bó kànràn yẹn gbogbo àwọn governors yarí wípé pàápàá jùlọ àwọn governors àríwá wọ́n yarí pé ní Kingibe ó ní gbogbo àwọn fẹ́ dìbò fún. Àmọ́ nísìnyí tó ti tìtorí ìwà Abiola sọ pé tí àwọn èèyàn ti step down fún ẹ tó sì ti na Kingibe àfi kó yan Kingibe ní vice, ibẹ̀ làbúbákà Abdulsalam Abubakar ló ti lọ jókòó jẹ́jẹ́jẹ́. bẹ́ẹ̀ bí eré Chief MKO Abiola ó gbàpótí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣe jíngù fún Abiola. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wò bó ti rí lọ́jọ́ náà ní àwọn jingles tí wọ́n ṣe fún Chief MKO Abiola. Ọ̀rọ̀ sì kù lẹ́yìn ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo fẹ́ bá wa Yorùbá sọ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ June 12. Ìrònú ló yẹ kó jẹ́ fún wa ká lè mọ bó la ń lọ àwa Yorùbá lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá nation. Mo ń bọ̀.
Now why for this life, oh, now so palava. I tire for this problem, I tire for life, oh. Guinea, no work, no food, no house, no light. This small water, then they bring now so dirty, they pull am. This small money, I they get now social transport, they chop am. School low, now headache, hospital, no work. I tire for life, oh. My brother, waiting you they think, oh. My sister, help don't come. SDP, MKO, Kingibe, action. MKO, Kingibe, SDP, progress. Abiola na the hope, oh, SDP na the party to solve our problem and better our life, oh. MKO, 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 action. Abiola, 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 progress. Now him be the hope, oh, for better tomorrow.
It's another year, and the memory of June 12 is once again brought to the fore of Nigeria's political.
Nigeria on the march again.
On the march again.
Looking for Mr. President.
On the march again.
MKO is our man. Oh.
MKO is our man.
Now him go make our country better.
He's the man.
For progress and a better tomorrow.
He's our man.
Make you vote for him, my brother. I say make you vote for him, my sister.
He's our man.
Everybody make una vote for him.
He's the man.
Now him be our only hope.
He's our man.
I say now him be hope for tomorrow.
He's the man.
On the march again.
On the march again.
SDP the people's choice.
On the march again.
MKO is the man.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ padà. Wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ campaign gbogbo ayé dìbò nígbà náà prior to 1993 election. Ìgbò rí rẹ̀ bí Ìgbò, Yorùbá rí rẹ̀ bí Yorùbá, Haúsá rí rẹ̀ bí Haúsá, bó tiẹ̀ ti hù kó jẹ́ pé nígbà náà àwọn Arewa vent on ruling Nigeria. Àmọ́ o àwọn tó jẹ́ lead wọn ni wọ́n wí pé dandan àfi káwọn jó lórí Nàìjíríà kó sájà wọn ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ọmọ north àwọn tí àkódà títí mọ́ Fúlàní àárín wọn ni wọ́n sì jẹ́ pé wọ́n wo lóòótọ́ gbà náà ni wọ́n Nàìjíríà wà lóòótọ́ ló fi jẹ́ pé nígbà tí MKO tó merge despite the fact pé ẹni tí NRC fà lẹ̀ ọmọ nọ́ọ̀tì ni Bashiru tó fà wọn ò wò yẹn rárá kódà ọmọ Kánò ni Abíọ́lá na Bashiru tó fà mọ́lé ó nà ní ìnàkúnà iná tí ò tiẹ̀ ṣe gbọ́ rárá ló na Bashiru tó fà mọ́ Kánò àwọn ará Kánò díjú dìbò fún MKO Abíọ́lá ni majority tó nídìí nílẹ̀ Ìgbò ó rí níbẹ̀ ìtó nídìí ní south south ó rí níbẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ò tí dèrú ìbò bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn mọ́ láyé kí ló wá fà á tá a wá fi jẹ́ pé àwa Yorùbá wọ́n dìdá ìwà lẹ́lẹ́ẹ̀kejì láti má dépò ìjọba eléyìí ni mo fẹ́ bá àwa Yorùbá sọ̀rọ̀ sí wípé kó ní kálukú wa ká patikítí mọ́ra ká kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ látara tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní June 12 kírun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn má tún lọ gbẹ̀yìn ṣe wá mọ́ àfi káwa Yorùbá lórí wa wò àwọn ọmọ àlénú wa tí wọ́n ń gbẹ̀yìn bọbọ jẹ́ fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá àfi kí wọ́n ronú ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní June 12 káwọn náà ò fi ṣàríkọ́gbọ́n kí wọ́n pe àrò àtẹ̀dọ̀fóró inú wọn kí wọ́n bá sọ̀rọ̀ wípé ó di dandan kí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kó gba òmìnira. Babangida jáde láìpẹ́ yìí ló wá sọ fún gbogbo ayé ohun tó fà á tóun fi annul June 12 ó lómi ló pọ̀ jọ kà lọ a ti kà lẹ́ẹ̀kan rí bí àmọ́ kò síjọ́ tó wúlò bí èní kò síjọ́ tí n ta fẹ́ kàyí wúlò bí èní eléyìí ní ìdí tí Babangida sọ pé ó fà á tóun fi annul June 12 nígbà náà lẹ́wàá rí bí àwọn Àrèwá àwọn Fúlàní àtàwọn Haúsá bí wọ́n ṣe parapọ̀ tí wọ́n ní láò kì í ṣe ayé yìí ni Yorùbá ti ṣe olórí lé wa lórí ní Nàìjíríà nígbà náà lẹ́wàá rí pé àwa tá à ń sọ pé àbá Fúlàní ṣe mọ́ àfi káwọn Àrèwá máa bá tiwọn lọ nígbà náà lẹ́wàá rí pé a fẹ́ ẹ̀dá Yorùbá nítorí pé ẹni tí wọ́n pè ní Oyèníyì Jeremiah Awólọ́wọ̀ gbogbo ayé mọ̀ pé òun náà win election àmọ́ ìbànújẹ́ ló jẹ́ fún mi pé pẹ̀lú agbára àwọn Fúlàní Ọbásanjọ́ succumb to the threats ó gbéjọba fún Fúlàní kó kàn án Yorùbá ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ wọ́n tó bù ṣe gàdà Abíọ́lá tún gbàpótí òun náà tún wọlé gbogbo ayé sì mọ̀ pé ọmọ Yorùbá yìí ló wọlé àwọn Àrèwá kan náà yìí ni wọ́n tún régi mọ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ ni wọn ò jò débẹ̀ kódà ńgbà tó dayé Abacha tó declare rẹ̀ wípé òun lòun win election exactly 1 year that is 1 year anniversary of the election June 12 1994 Abíọ́lá jáde síta wá declare rẹ̀ Abacha sì pàṣẹ pé kí wọ́n gbé nìṣó l'Àbújá wọ́n ti Abíọ́lá mọ́lé wọ́n ò fi sílẹ̀ títí tí bàbá Kọ́lá tó fi jẹ́ pé Ọlọ́run sínú ọgbà ẹ̀wọ̀n bẹ́ẹ̀ apá kan sọ pé wọ́n lù pa ni apá kan sọ pé tíì ni wọ́n fún mu ohun tó ṣàyè wà ni pé ó tún dé lẹ́ẹ̀kejì wọ́n tún deny ọmọ Yorùbá láti di president ṣé kò wá yẹ káwa Yorùbá ti ronú ni ẹ wá gbọ́ àṣírí tí ẹnìkan tú lórí bí Babangida bó ṣe annul June 12 ní ìjọ náà lọ́hùn ní ìgbà tí wọ́n ka ìbò nígbà tí Babangida ó announce ó lóun gbà lóòótọ́ wípé kò sí àbùjẹjẹkù kan nínú ìbò tí wọ́n dì o ó ní ṣùgbọ́n àṣemáṣe ti pọ̀ síwájú kí wọ́n tó dìbò náà ọ̀rọ̀ tó pani lẹ́rìn gidi ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ́ pé àwọn Àrèwá mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ fi ọwọ́ ọlá gbálẹ̀ Yorùbá lójú ni wọ́n mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ má fẹ́ kí Yorùbá ó dé ipò ọlá wọ́n mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ má fẹ́ kí Yorùbá ó jẹ́ olórí a sì ń pariwo wọn Nàìjíríà ẹ gbọ́ ṣé wọn Nàìjíríà ní wá lóòótọ́ ẹ gbọ́ Babangida nígbà tó wà náà June 12.
Actually, in all the states, it is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was, in fact, a huge array of electoral malpractices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
It is incredible. In view of all this, I find the conclusion unfortunate but inescapable that the federal military government is guilty of bad faith, pure and simple. No one has accused me of any offense against any known electoral law or regulation. The people of this country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they?
Ní June 12, Babangida annulled June 12 election. Ṣùgbọ́n Abiola lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ l'Abiola ti jáde wípé mi ò gbà kí irú eléyìí ṣẹlẹ̀. Babangida wá sọ̀rọ̀ jáde láìpẹ́ yìí lẹ́ni tí ọ̀rọ̀ ṣojú ẹ̀ tí yẹn tú àṣírí tárákùnrin yẹn tú rèé. Àwa Yorùbá ẹ jẹ́ ká wo fídíò yìí ká dẹ̀ bá mi ṣí àyè. Bóyá ajẹ́ máa tó rí nínú àwọn ọmọ àlè Yorùbá tí wọ́n á wo fídíò yìí tí wọ́n á tún èrò ọkàn wọn pa. Lóòótọ́ lójọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ló wà lórí oyè sìn. Àmọ́ lẹ́yìn tọ́mọ Yorùbá bá kúrò ń bẹ̀ what next? Ṣé bá máa tún padà sóko àárọ̀ ni? Á tún padà sóko ẹrú. Gbogbo wa ló yẹ ká jọ panupọ̀ nísìn wípé nísìn tó ti jọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ló wà lórí oyè. Àsìkò ní ká lo tẹ́nà tiẹ̀ láti fi achieve ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, gbígba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Tá a bá ti rí ṣe láyé Tinubu yìí, láyé àlérí ṣe mọ́ o. Ó ṣe yẹ káwa Yorùbá decide. Mo fọlọ́ búra àrèwà ń tàn wá ni. Ohun tí wọ́n ṣe pamọ́ yìí ó sì kù lórí ẹ̀mí wọn. Ìpadàbọ̀ Àbíjà ò ní dá o nígbà tí wọ́n bá padà dórí oyè. Àfi tó bá jẹ́ pé ohun àwa Yorùbá ká jìyà kú ló kù. Yorùbá ló wà bẹ́ẹ̀ sìn. Ká lo tẹ́nà Yorùbá yìí láti fi gba ìjọba wa. Tó bá ti kú òbẹ̀ pẹ́ báyìí lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ kó jẹ́ pé kí Tinubu ti bá wa rólẹ̀ lẹ̀ dáadáa. Ká má tún padà ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ àárọ̀ mọ́. Kódà tó bá ṣeé ṣe kó tó parí ìjọba ẹ̀ káwa Yorùbá ti lọ. Àpilẹ̀kọ yẹn sọ pé I shoot Chief MKO Abiola the day NEC pronounces him the elected president. Ẹni tó sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni Brigadier David Mark. Ó wà ní inú iṣẹ́ ológun nígbà náà. David Mark wá padà jẹ nínú democracy tàbí Abiola fight fún o. Kódà ó pẹ́ ní senate president. Ó ṣe tẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ta léraléra. Ìyẹn David Mark. Ó sọ ń gbà yẹn pé tó bá lọ jẹ́ pánẹ́ẹ̀kì kí wọ́n announce Abiola délẹ̀ ni òun máa yìnbọn pa ni. Kẹ́ lè mọ ìkórìíra tí àwọn Àrèwá tí wọ́n ní sí àwa Yorùbá. Ẹ jẹ́ á máa kà lọ. Extracts from the tale of June 12, the betrayal of the democratic right of Nigerians in 1993. Author Professor Omoruyi. Ẹni tó sọ ìtàn yìí rèé tó ṣàlàyé tójú rẹ̀ rí lórí June 12 àti Babangida fúnra ẹ̀ àti kú tí àwọn Àrèwá plan fún àwa Yorùbá. Tí a bá gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí tí a jókòó gbọ́ tá a bá tún wá nírònú gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá á jẹ́ pé nǹkan ń ṣe wá. Professor Omoruyi said further, please read the extract and forward to all southern politicians. Scene 2, President ìwé ni ìwé tí màá yẹn kọ ni inú ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ti lọ extract bíbá ìjáde nínú ìwé ẹ̀. Act 1 Scene 2 ìwé yẹn ló ti ń ṣàlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Wọ́n ní Scene 2, President unburdened his heart to me. Ó ń bá Omoruyi sọ̀rọ̀ torí pé ọ̀rẹ́ ni Omoruyi nígbà náà pẹ̀lú Babangida tó jẹ́ president nígbà náà. The venue was the presidential villa, residence and office, and the subject was to explore options in the face of annulment of the election that was in the offing. The main actors were General Ibrahim Babangida, General Dongoyaro, and myself, Professor Omorui. This was not the first time General Babangida and I met like this. We met in Minna in early August 1985 to review how he was to proceed with a transition program should the coup contemplated in August succeed. We met in Lagos in August 1st, September 1985, after he had succeeded and had become the president over the steps he should take to evolve a transition program. We met in Lagos again over the political bureau report and worked out what to do with the report. Again, we met in Lagos over the steps he should take to get a transition program put together from the report of the political bureau and report from the White Paper Committee. General Babangida and I met at other times over the following issues: the evolutions of two-party system and the creation of the Center for Democracy Studies, the setting up of Constitution Review Committee, the composition of and charge to the Constituent Assembly, the productions of the white paper on the report of the Constituent Assembly, the drafting of the argument for the creations of states, the banning and disqualifications of persons, the inaugurations of the National Assembly, the setting up of the National Defense and Security Council, and the Transition Council, among other major policies issues in 1993 concerning the presidential election. In all these issues, our meetings and papers produced formed the basis of the policies of his government. Ká lè mọ bí Professor Omorui pẹ̀lú Babangida ṣe close to, kò lè dá sọ àfikórí professor, kò lè dá ronú àfikórí Professor Omorui. Oríṣiríṣi ibi tán ti pàdé àti ìdí tán fi pàdé ó ní professor yìí ti sọ sí iwájú ta kàyé wípé àwọn òṣèṣẹ́ ń jọ pàdé kò dẹ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń fi ọ̀rọ̀ lọ òun, àmọ́ o lórí ti June 12 ló pe òun sí lélẹ́yìí, ohun tán sì jọ sọ òun ló ń ṣàlàyé lọ yìí. Ó ní, it was not therefore unusual for the president to invite me to think with him in how to get out of the dilemma in which he found himself after the suspensions of the election process and the injunctions of the NEC by various courts in Southwest and Abuja and decisions of NEC to appeal to the Federal Court of Appeal. I also thought that he wanted to discuss the diplomatic impasse that he might have created by not seeing the British High Commissioner to accept the letter from Mr. John Major, the British Prime Minister. I could not think of the US reaction to the impasse because the US seemed to have faded away. After the incident of June 11, my mind also went to the possibility, nevertheless, of a fresh threatening message from the US. I could not rule out the US. My mind went to the memorandum of June 20, see chapter 4 of the book, in which I raised many issues bordering on the president's inability to assume moral leadership in the face of the apparent derailment of the transition program and the sliding of the country into chaos. This turned out to be the subject of the meeting. Nígbà tó annul June 12, or tó bá annul lẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n ti pa INEC láṣẹ kí wọ́n stop ìbò kíkà. NEC náà jẹ́ gbà yẹn as a matter of fact or so to speak. Ó ti pa wọ́n láṣẹ pé kí wọ́n stop ìbò. Kí ló fà tó fi pa wọ́n láṣẹ? Kí ni pressure tí wọ́n mount lórí Babangida? Kí ni kó ṣe next? Gbogbo àwọn international community or àwọn international countries bíi àwọn foreign countries bíi United Kingdom àti America tí oníkálùkù wọn ti ń fẹ̀nù ẹ̀hónú hàn tí wọ́n sì ti ń bínú sílùú Nàìjíríà, kí ni kí Babangida ṣe? Ìdí rẹ̀ tó fi ránṣẹ́ sí Professor Omorui wípé ẹni táwọn aráàlú òun ṣe rèé, àwọn northerners àwọn yẹn mount pressure lé lórí pé Abiola gbọ́dọ̀ di president o bó bá di president adẹrù Yorùbá nìyẹn láéláyé o ẹni nìyẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kejì àwọn ẹ̀rù ń bà torí àwọn aráàlú ti yarí oríṣiríṣi ló ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ó wá ránṣẹ́ sí professor ọmọọmọrù yìí wá là mí lọ́yẹ̀ òun náà là ń sọ yìí. It was clear when I entered his office that he had lost command stroke control of the situation. He in fact confessed this to me the first time he was making such a confession since I knew him. He pleaded that he needed help to find out a solution to a complex problem which he did not quite understand. It was also clear to me, but unfortunately not to my fellow Nigerians, that the country was without a president that had authority either over the military nor over the civilians. One wondered what would have happened in the political class had been united if the political class had been united and pressed for the conclusion of the transition program. But the political class was part of the problem. It was also not clear to the international community that Nigeria had no effective government at this time. Professor ọmọọmọrù yìí sọ pé gbàrà tóun ti wọ́ ọ́fíìsì Babangida lòun ti rí pé kò sí àṣẹ lẹ́nu Babangida mọ́ àwọn awúrèwà ti gbàjọba lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n kàn sì fi dígẹrẹwu sórí oyè ni. Ó ní pé ó láwọn aráàlú ò mọ̀ wípé Babangida tí wọ́n wò lórí oyè ńgbà yẹn Babangida tí ò ní àṣẹ mọ́ ni tó jẹ́ pé àwọn kéréje tó wà lábẹ́ rẹ̀ àwọn bọ́ìsẹ̀ tí wọ́n jọ máa rẹwà àwọn gan ni wọ́n gbàjọba lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n wọn ò fi hàn síta torí pé kò pàṣẹ fún wọn kí wọ́n gbọ́mọ́ nígbà náà kò ní àṣẹ kankan lẹ́nu mọ́ ó ti di tó jẹ́ pé àwọn arẹwà ti gbàjọba lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ wọ́n sì ti ń pàṣẹ. Why did the international community not issue statements supporting the June 12 elections even though they had the results? General Babangida knew he could purchase the political class, but he knew that the international community was not purchasable. The president had no normal courage to call his boys to order, having lied to them about Chief MKO Abiola at the onset. These boys had now bypassed him and formally linked up with the anti-democratic element in the north, working in concert with some Igbo leaders who felt that the time had come for them to avenge what they thought the Yoruba had done to them during the Civil War. Mo sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan pé àwa Yorùbá, this is the time for sober reflection. This is the time àsìkò ní fún àwọn Yorùbá láti jókòó ká bára wa sòdodo ọ̀rọ̀ ká ronú gidi tààrà. Bí àwọn kan bá lùlù kótòkótò káwa kan yé lùlù kówókówó, gbogbo wa la nífẹ̀ẹ́ Tinubu, gbogbo wa la sì mọ̀ pé ọmọ wa ní Tinubu, gbogbo wa la mọ̀ pé Yorùbá ló kàn, Yorùbá ló wà ń bẹ àmọ́ lẹ́yìn tí Tinubu bá kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ what next? What next yẹn ni àwọn tó ń jà fún Yorùbá nation jà fún yìí. Kì í ṣe kò sẹ́nikẹ́ni tó tako ìjọba Tinubu torí pé oríṣiríṣi ìyà la jẹ kí Yorùbá tó dórí oyè. Yorùbá lè dórí oyè tán sì ká àtakò Tinubu, kò sẹ́nibọ́dì ọmọ àlè Yorùbá ni ó tako Tinubu pé báwo ló ṣe jẹ president. Ṣùgbọ́n tó bá lọ tán kọ́ ṣé Yorùbá ó tún padà sí àárọ̀ lábẹ́ Fúlàní? Ṣé Fúlàní ó tún máa pa kò kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n pa gbèjègbèjọ gbẹ̀sán gbẹ̀rìndínlógún àmọ́ àṣírí ṣòkì wọn fà díẹ̀díẹ̀ torí pàwa la wà láṣẹ lókè. Bá a bá wá kú òlù àṣẹ táwọn tún padà síbẹ̀ tó ló dá mi lójú pé wọn ní gbéjọba fún Yíbò láíláí. Fúlàní á tún padà gbàjọba. Tí Fúlàní bá wá gbàjọba ti rí pé Yorùbá tún dáràn bí ayé Buhari látún padà sí. Mọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n pa ayé Buhari ni wọ́n ti wọlé Yorùbá. Ìjọ tí wọ́n ti ń pa kúkúrú pa gúngùn náà ti ara wọn ni wọ́n fi mọ́ wọn délẹ̀ Yorùbá rí. Àmọ́ kò dáyé Tinubu tó dáyé Buhari wọ́n fò wọ́n ní kí Yorùbá níṣó. Wọ́n ní Yorùbá náà wà, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà wà nù táwọn ó gbà. Ó ní wọ́n wá sọ níbi báyìí wípé gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ àrèwá tí wọ́n wà nínú iṣẹ́ ológun pátá ni wọ́n ti lọ lẹ̀dí àpòpọ̀ máwọn bàbá wọn tí wọ́n kígbe wípé a ní dandan Abíọ́lá ò gbọ́dọ̀ dépò, ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ gba Yorùbá láyè kó wà níjọba. Ẹ wá rí àwa Yorùbá ohun tá ń kà yẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́yé, ká mọ̀ páwa nìkan la dá wa o, kódà Yíbò sí lẹ́yìn wa, mo fi Ọlọ́run búra. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ adopt Yíbò, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ rí wọn bíi pé ara wa ni, Yorùbá dá wà ní o, kọ́lọ́múdọ́mù yẹ gbé la wa o. Ẹgbọ́n tí wọ́n sọ síbi tí Professor Ọmọọmọrù yìí sọ síbi báyìí, ó láwọn Easterner náà gbé àwọn Northerners lẹ́yìn láti àná June 12 nítorí pé wọ́n wò pé àsìkò ti tó fún àwọn Easterners sọ pé àsìkò ti tó fáwọn láti gba ẹ̀san Biafra war lára Yorùbá. Ẹ bá rántí, Yorùbá ni wọ́n lò láti stop Biafra war. Ìgbò ti kórìíra wa láti ìgbà náà, wọ́n ti rí wa bí ọ̀tá, wọ́n ti rí wa bí traitor, wọ́n wá lọ lẹ̀ dí àpòpọ̀ mú àwọn olórí wọn ní àrẹwà ní north láti àná June 12. Adẹ̀tọ́rọ̀ àwọn ọmọ àlè Yorùbá náà tó tún jọyìn wọn, ó kúkú ti yé wa gbogbo náà kú mọ̀ wọn, gbogbo wọn fojú hàn, ìyàwó míì ti kú nú wọn, àwọn míì sì wà láyé. Àwọn táǹkà yìí a fẹ́ kí Yorùbá ronú bí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá wa Ògúndé, a fẹ́ kí Yorùbá ronú, kí Yorùbá rí n tó yẹ kó rí wípé Yorùbá nìkan ló dá wa o. Ẹni bá lọ rò pé ọmọ ìyá wa ni Yíbò náà, ọmọ ìyá wa ni kinní kan náà lọ́mọ ìyá, ọmọ ìyá wa làwa Yorùbá ara wa, àwa nìkan lọ́mọ ìyá wa. Àwa Yorùbá yìí náà la ṣíṣì ń jẹra wa lẹ́sẹ̀, àwa Yorùbá yìí náà àyè tí nífẹ̀ẹ́ ara wa dé góńgó. Bóyá àwọn nǹkan kò yé wa ni, àbí ká sọ pé gùn ló ń jalè Yorùbá. Máa yí sọ bíbà yìí sì pé àwọn East àwọn náà lọ lẹ̀dí àpòpọ̀ mú àwọn Northerners yẹn láti fi àná June 12 láti fi gbẹ̀san ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Biafra lára Yorùbá. Ó sì wà lórí ẹ̀mí wọn o, ó sì wà lórí ẹ̀mí wọn o, òdodo mò ń sọ, ó sì wà lórí ẹ̀mí wọn o. Ẹja máa kà lọ. The president had no moral courage to call his boys no. Wọ́n ní these boys had now bypassed him and formally linked up with the anti-democratic element in the north, working in concert with some Igbo leaders. With some Igbo leaders who felt that the time had come for them to avenge what they thought the Yoruba had done to them during the Civil War. General Ibrahim Babangida was now a victim of this web of intrigue, and he thought he needed help to take control of the situation, not to reverse it, since he could not. Once inside his office, Ọmọọmọrù yìí sọ̀rọ̀ sí pé nígbà tí mo wọnú ọ́fíìsì ẹ̀, he locked the door, ó sáré tilẹ̀kùn. He welcomed me with a strong appeal to my loyalty, which I assured him was constant. Ó kí mi dáadáa. Ó sì tún béèrè nípa báwo ni mo sì ṣe dúró tòun sí. Mo wá jẹ́ kó yé pé mo sì wà lẹ́yìn ẹ digbí bí ọ̀tá. I am at your back. I support you. You can still trust me. You can still put trust in me. Ọmọọmọrù yìí sọ fún bẹ́ẹ̀. Ó ní he looked very worried. Mo rí lójú ẹ̀ pé nǹkan ti ṣẹlẹ̀ sí i. He removed his shoes, ó bọ́ bàtà ìdànù, and caps àti fìlà orí ẹ̀, and confessed that his wife did not know where he was at that moment, and he drove himself from Minna that morning just to walk to me. Ó ní òun dárìn, òun dáwà mọ́tò ara ẹ̀ jẹ́jẹ́ ni o, fúnra ẹ̀ ló drive, kódà kò jẹ́ kí driver ẹ̀ drive òun as a president. Ó lóun wá ara òun dé Àbújá ni láti Minna láti wá bá òun Professor Ọmọọmọrù ìṣe meeting torí pé nǹkan tó ń dà òun láàmú. Ó ní bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ìyàwó òun kò lè sọ pé bí báyìí lòun wà, ìyẹn Mariam Babangida the late. Ó ní that morning, just to talk to you, okay, thus he expected me to be frank with him as I had always been. He went on, I have not seen my wife or briefed her of what I had been going through in the past 3 days. I urged him to unburden his heart to me and assured him that I will be as frank as possible, but that he would have to be open with me. For a few minutes, he remained speechless and looked morose. The situation in which I saw him could only be compared with the situation in which I found him in 1985 when he was agonizing over what to do during the days preceding his decisions to overthrow General Muhammadu Buhari military regime. Just as he did on that occasion, he pleaded with me to advise him on how to free himself from the dilemma in which he found himself. Dilemma, that is, ó ti ṣe iyèméjì, kò yé mọ́, ṣé kó wà náà June 12 ni? Àbí kó má gbọ́ràn sí àwọn arẹwà tó mount pressure lórí òun, kó má gbọ́ràn sí wọn lẹ́nu, kó jẹ́ kó declare Abiola as president. Ẹ worú ọ̀tá tí àwọn arẹwà ń bá wa ṣe, táwa Yorùbá sì fẹ́ kú lé wọn lórí, táwa ń pariwo wọn Nàìjíríà. Just as only I seek disaster for myself and my family. Babangida ní ìbànújẹ́ tó dé báwọn òun rí pa burúkú kan máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sóhun àtàwọn ẹbí òun o. Where do I go now? Níbo ni kí n lọ báyìí? He asked. Ó ń bi Professor léèrè. Professor, we must find a solution here and now, or else I am finished. Professor, mo gbọ́dọ̀ wá àyànjú sí ní tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nísinsìnyí níbi tá a jókòó sí ìlà gbọ́dọ̀ rí ojútùú sí, láìṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ onítòhun ti tán pátápátá. He concluded, the operative clause is we must find a solution, meaning that he wanted me to work with him or he was relying on me for a solution. I did this with him in the past. He expected me to do it again with him in this June 1993. General Babangida proceeded to recount all that we did together in the past and pleaded that I should see him through this stage. I urged him again to unburden his heart and speak as freely as he always did, so that we could discuss the issue. I assured him that there was no political problem that had no solution. He cut in to say that the issue facing him was not political, but had to do with his life, his family's life, and even the life of his close friends, including me. Still, he was hesitant in addressing the question. Suddenly, he got up and reached for the door, making sure that it was well secured. He unhooked his telephones and some security equipment, except the security line which linked him to his service chiefs. I was not surprised with this kind of behavior. I had gone through this with him before. It was clear to me that he was in trouble, more serious than I had imagined. I was also deeply concerned for my own safety. This was a new angle which he had brought in. I normally missed the Oka coup in 1990. I asked myself, was a bloodthirsty coup maker around? But the coups that occurred in the past did not happen in broad daylight. He again kept quiet for some time, and I pleaded with him the third time to speak his mind to me. He then gave me a pad from his table to take notes. Of course, I thanked him and I pointed out that I had a pad and my memory to cope with the issues that would rise from the meeting. General Babangida opened with the following words, which I jotted down as closely as possible, word for word. 1, he said, they will kill me, they will kill the president-elect, Chief MKO Abiola, if I went ahead with the elections and announced the winner of the election, which we all know to be Bashorun, Chief MKO Abiola. I know so, I am not daft. He won, he tried. I feel bad about the whole matter. Ọmọ Yorùbá ṣá ti gbọ́. Ibi ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ o. Ó ní pé bóun bá announce June 12, àwọn àrèwà pa òun, wọ́n á pa àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ òun, wọ́n á pa family òun. So, annulment of June 12 ò kì í ṣe Babangida nìkan. iṣẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ wọ́n paláṣẹ ni àwọn northerners ni wọ́n parapọ̀ paláṣẹ. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ fẹ́ kú sí àárín north tẹ́ ní ọmọ ìyá wa ni wọ́n ṣe ti rí bí wọ́n ti jọ ọmọ ìyá wa báyìí ṣe rí pé lóòótọ́ ọmọ ìyá wa ni wọ́n ṣe rí pé deliberate action ni tí ìbá sí pé campaign Yorùbá nation tó lọ wàláì wọ́n á ti yí Tinubu náà lágbòdànù. Ẹ wo tútọ́ pa fún sínà tó bá ti take step kan tó rí pé Nàìjíríà máa dá lórí ẹ̀ wọ́n máa yà àwọn northerners máa yarí ni pàápàá jùlọ àwọn ọ̀gá Fúlàní. Ẹ wo àti grazing law tó lọ lọ́wọ́ yìí wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé máa bá àwọn gan wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé esme máa tán wọ́n ti ń ké kiri látijọ́ wọ́n ti fẹ́ tápa àwọn Àrèwá wọ́n ní láyé sẹ́ẹ̀ kò ní ṣe sẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣẹ́gbọ́n tuntun Babangida ni wọ́n á ṣe fóun ó ní wọ́n á pa àwọn apàrùn òun tó ń bá lè announce ó ní mo mọ̀ pé MKO win mo mọ̀ kó win mo mọ̀ kó try àmọ́ tí bá announce ẹ̀ wọ́n á pa mí wọ́n á pàrọ̀ mi wọ́n á pa MKO fúnra rẹ̀ pàápàá wọ́n á dẹ̀ pàwọ́ tó jọ rẹ̀ mi. Number 1 yẹn. Number 2 professor ó ní wọ́n professor I do not see how they will spare you because they know that you are my principal confidant. You think they do not know you, they did not know you. They know you are with me now. They saw you coming in and they know you are with me now. He then paused and asked for my views. I started by saying that I sympathize with him. I assured him that I will be the last person to see him or his family dead in the hand of this unknown day. I had asked him, who are these day and what are your crimes? Is a coup imminent? Before he could reply, I spoke again. If a coup is imminent and you cannot stop it, then don't resist. I cancelled. Call them and hand over and spare your life. If that is what they want, I pleaded. Is that what they want? I asked. It was at this stage that he confessed that he had misled his boys. He had assured them that he would be able to stop Chief MK Abiola before the process reached the stage of election. He had also assured Abiola that the road was clear for him to seek the presidential election. He was now in severe difficulty as to what to do. He was sitting on the sharp point of dilemma. It was either his life or his honor as an officer and a gentleman. He was inclined to settle for the former, his life, and to let go of the latter, his honor. I cut in to say that it would involve the whole country and that we might not be that lucky. The same life that we were trying to save could still be threatened and lost. He agreed with me, looking most concerned. Then he said, this whole problem was caused by my men, and blamed those who pressured him to lift the ban placed on certain persons in December 1991, which opened the way for Chief MK Abiola and Alhaji Bashiru Tofa to enter the presidential race. Tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀, àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Babangida ti sọ fún pé kò gbọdọ̀ jẹ́ kí Abiola kó contest àti àwọn Àrèwá. Babangida dẹ̀ sọ fún wọn pé ẹ má wọrí, ṣe bọ́ọ̀rẹ́ mi ni, màá mọ bí mo ṣe máa dá dúró, ẹ jẹ́ ó contest, kò lè débì kankan tí màá ti dá dúró. Ṣùgbọ́n òun náà tún sọ fún Abiola pé wo máa báṣẹ́ lọ mo wà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀, gbàpò tí contest bó bá ṣe wọ̀n ẹ̀. Ó dẹ̀ tún sọ fáwọn Àrèwá pé ẹgbẹ́ má wọrí, ẹ jẹ́ ó contest, kò sí tó fẹ́ ṣe. Tá a bá wo àárín yẹn dáadáa, a rí pé Babangida ó ṣe t'Abiola gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀rẹ́, ó gba Abiola láyè, ṣùgbọ́n omi pọ̀jọ kàlọ́ngbà tí síbò máa fi jáde. Àwọn Haúsá ò gbà, àwọn Fúlàní ò gbà, àwọn Àrèwá ò gbà. Ìdí rèé tí Babangida fi àná June 12. So kì kúkú ṣe blame ẹ̀ náà púpọ̀ náà, ó du ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ àti tàwọn ẹbí ẹ̀ ni. ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ọmọ ọrù yìí kò kọ̀ láti sọ fún, kò kùnà láti sọ fún pé in tó fẹ́ ṣe yìí tó bá lọ tẹ̀lé ń táwọn dé àwọn tó pè ní dé tó bá tẹ̀lé tán sọ o ẹ̀mí tó fẹ́ gbàlà ẹ̀mí tó fẹ́ kó bọ́ yẹn ó lè padà bọ́ o torí tọ́mọ Nàìjíríà bá yarí tán o. Ó wá ní àwọn boys òun ló fa gbogbo wàhálà yìí o àwọn náà jẹ́ kóun lift ban lórí òṣèlú àwọn ló jẹ́ kóun lift ban lórí àwọn kan tóun ti fi impose ban lé lórí débi wípé Abiola lè contest tí Bashiru Tofa náà lè contest. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tí wọ́n rí pé Abiola ò ṣe dá dúró mọ́ tán sì rí pọ́pọ̀ tó ti lọ làwọn juwọ́ sí wọ́n yarí fún Babangida ṣé bó promise wa ni wípé ò ní jẹ́ kọkùnrin contest kò contest nìkan ó tún ti win àfi kó ya mọ bó ṣe máa ṣe o tó máa da ìbò yẹn nù ṣe láṣìírí tó ń tú. In fact wọ́n ní looking most concerned then he said the whole problem was caused by my men and blamed those who pressurized him, okay, which opened the way, okay. He also blamed his intelligence officers who told him that Chief MK Abiola would not get the nomination form and that Alhaji Babangida Kingibe would defeat him at the just convention. Ó láwọn intelligence òun sọ fóun pé Chief Abiola wọn lè dìbò fún láéláé Babangida Kingibe máa ná pa ní just ní convention tán ṣe tán fi yan presidential candidate. Ṣùgbọ́n o according to him they then turned round to me. They then turned round to tell me the story of how Chief MK Abiola bought the nomination with millions of naira. He thought these were the source of the problem he faced. Wọ́n wá ní wọ́n ti dẹ pápẹ́lẹ̀ f'Abiola ní Jos àmọ́ Abiola náà fi ti Yorùbá hàn wọ́n. Wọ́n wá ní ó láwọn ọmọ òun sọ fóun pé Abiola ra gbogbo ìbò pátá ní Jos ni ibi tóun ti ní problem gan leléyìí o. He then thought these were the source of the problem he faced. At this stage, I had to cut in to remind the president that the report I brought from that Jos convention did not say that money was not spent by Chief MK Abiola. In fact, the report said that money was spent by most of the SDP governors as well as Chief Ato Izeribe, Dr. Olusola Saraki, Chief Emeka Ojukwu, and others to promote the candidacy of Alhaji Babangida Kingibe and work against Chief MK Abiola. Professor Omomoru Iwa sọ pé má dáhùn o gbogbo wọn pátápátá ni wọ́n náwó o rìpọ́ọ̀tù tí mo mú wá fún ẹ ó sọ pé MKO ná owó gidi ó dẹ̀ ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ni gbogbo àwọn governors pátá àti Anton Zeribe àti Nwanyahun àtOjukwu gbogbo wọn ni wọ́n náwó láti fi support Babangida Kingibe láti fi against Chief MK Abiola. Kódà àwọn Yíbò àwọn ọ̀gá wọn facilitate kábíọ́lá máa wọlé. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ ṣe kẹ́ ọmọ ìyá wa ní Yíbò náà ẹ̀ ń ṣe ọmọ ìyá wa Yíbò ṣe ọmọ ìyá wa ẹ jẹ́ face reality, let us face front. Àwa fúnra wa ní ká face wàhálà tiwa ẹ fi Yíbò lọ́rùn lẹ́jẹ́ káwọn náà máa bá tiwọn dà kán máa bá tiwọn pò. Bílẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ṣe ní jìyà mọ́ òní tó kàn wá. Níbo ni Yorùbá ń lọ after the tenure of Tinubu? What next? Ó ní ká máa bira wa léèrè, ìyẹn ni ká ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí. Báwo la ṣe ní padà sínú ìyà? Báwo la ṣe ní padà ṣẹrú Fúlàní? Báwo ni Fúlàní ò tún ṣe ní máa jí wa gbé bọ́n ṣe ń jí wa gbé sìn? Kí la lè ṣe láti fi stop wọn? Gbogbo oko wa ni wọ́n ti bẹ́ fún màálù wọn tán. Wọ́n sọ ní Senate láìpẹ́ yìí. Fulani claim pé second class citizen ni màálù jẹ́ màálù Senate president ló kó sí wọn lẹ́nu pé are you telling us that your cows are Nigerian citizen? Ìkan náà tún sọ pé màálù life màálù wà value ju life èèyàn lọ. Obìnrin House of Reps kan náà tún sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣé ká máa bá lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni? Ẹ wo atrocities tí wọ́n commit ní June 12. Yorùbá yẹ ká ronú o. That was why I said this is the time for sober reflection. Máa yẹn ní gbogbo wọn pátá ni wọ́n náwó ní kálukú ló náwó kò sẹ́ni tí ò náwó bẹ̀jọ yẹn. My report also confirmed that Chief Abiola spent money to avoid being humiliated by the combined forces of SDP governors and the disqualified presidential aspirant of 1992. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n disqualify ní presidential aspirant ní 1992 gbogbo wọn ni wọ́n lẹ̀dí àpò pọ̀ àti gbogbo àwọn SDP governors. Gbogbo wọn ni wọ́n lẹ̀dí àpò pọ̀ láti fi against Tinubu against Abiola láti rí pa Abiola ò di president. Abiola náà dẹ̀ nà ṣégè láti fi yọ rẹ̀ kúrò ní ọ̀fìn. So Professor Omomoru yìí sọ reason tí Abiola fi náwó fún. In the report, I said that for one man in the person of Chief MKO Abiola to withstand these money men and state governments should be the sufficient reason why I thought the process should be allowed to go forward. Professor Omomoru yìí wá sọ fún pé wo jẹ́ sòdodo fún ẹ. Èmi rò pé kó announce kìíní ló dáa torí pé Abiola ti fi ọmọ ọkọ hàn. Ó ti fi agbára tóhun níwọ̀n gbogbo Nàìjíríà wípé fún owó òun nìkan yẹn láti dá dúró kó dẹ̀ tún jáwé olúborí láàrin gbogbo kúpù tí wọ́n plan lẹ́dẹ̀ tí gbogbo àwọn governors tí wọ́n plan lẹ́dẹ̀ tóhun nìkan dẹ̀ tó borí wọn torí ìdí èyí àfi kó announce Abiola. Professor Omomoru yìí sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹjẹ́ a máa tó gbọ́ sí. I also reminded him, the president, that was one of the subjects the Sultan raised with me in Sokoto in May 1993 when he cancelled that the process should be abandoned. Even Sultan of Sokoto sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé kí wọ́n cancel election yẹn gbogbo bó a ṣe ń dìbò ayé kan abandon ẹ̀. I asked him to recall that we both agreed on my return from Sokoto that it was too late in the day to do that. Ní ìgbà tí Sultan of Sokoto sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé kí wọ́n cancel gbogbo àǹdìbò àṣẹ nǹkan kan ní Babangida tó rẹ́ sọ Omomoru yìí sọ pé I know ó ti pẹ́ jù à lè ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ it is too late lè cancel ẹ̀. The president then recalled how he blamed his security officers who did not give him both sides of the issues and how he had concluded that MKO was his friend and that Tofa was his brother. The president was concerned that the Sultan and the northern leaders were also opposed to Alhaji Tofa. I reminded him further that we parted that day with the understanding that whoever won the election would be okay by him. I drew his attention to how we came to the last statement, to the last testament, and wanted to know what happened after May 17, 1993. But he brought me right back to the immediate problem facing him. He agreed with my account, but said that he did not take his boys into confidence and that he had rejected the security briefs in the face of the report which I gave to him. He said that what he told them was that he would be able to stop Chief MKO Abiola at the appropriate time. I then asked, do you think you have reached that stage now? He said yes and no. Ó wá ní pé dandan òun á rí pé òun gbìyànjú láti rí pé òun dá Chief MKO Abiola dúró láti má di president. Omomoru yìí bí léèrè pé tó dẹ̀ rò pàgbárí akàṣá ó ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ni abẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ tún kọ́. It cannot be yes and no. I uttered and continued with the greatest respect and with the greatest sense of responsibility and with the greatest sense of loyalty to the president and love for the country. It is late in the day. He was shocked by my statement. Without giving a chance for his response, I went personal and said, this is not the appropriate time, sir. We have passed that stage. Ibrahim, I can see your problem, but the country will not take it. While he stared at me, I went on. You cannot tell the country this. His countenance changed and he said, the country will just have to take it. He said, I cannot kill myself for the sake of what the country wants. I am sorry. he lamented. It was astonishing to hear a general state that he could not lay down his life for his country, but I understood what he meant. ọmọ ọmọrú yìí gbìyànjú tiẹ̀ láti rí pòun kọ́ǹfíìsì Babangida kó má annul June 12. ìyẹn bá sọ pé ọ̀rọ̀ ti kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ o, ìlú ìyàdàrú ìlú yóò nígbà o, tó bá annul June 12 wàhálà ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Babangida ní kí wàhálà ṣẹlẹ̀ o, òun ò lè wá para òun torí Nàìjíríà o, ní tí Nàìjíríà bá fẹ́ ṣe ni kí wọ́n ṣe o, tó ń bá annul June 12 kò sí ní tí ó ṣẹlẹ̀. Professor mọ́mọ́rú sọ pé òun sọ fún pé wàhálà yẹn kọjá bó ṣe rò tó bá lè annul June 12, ṣùgbọ́n Babangida ò gbọ́. It was clear that General Babangida was in a fix as of June 21, 1993, and was a desperate search of how to escape the wrath of his boys. He had lost the battle over the crucial weekend between June 19 and June 21st at Mina, military factor. I then proceeded to deal with the questions of who were this day, and for what reason would they want to kill you, the president, and the president-elect, if the June 12 elections were allowed to go forward. He named them in military and ethnic categories. Sani, meaning Sani Abacha, is supposed to return to civilian rule. Sani cannot stand the idea of Chief MK Abiola, a Yoruba, becoming his commander-in-chief at all. Sani seems to have the ears of the northern leaders that no southerner, especially from the southwest, should become the president of this country. Bam! Sani seems to rally the northern elders to confront me on the matter. Ṣé gbọ́ báyìí? One Nigeria, two Nigeria, left Nigeria, ṣé ti gbọ́ báyìí? Wọ́n ní pé number one àwọn dé yẹn ni General Sani Abacha. Àkọ́kọ́ náà Sani Abacha ayé against káwọn gbéjọba fún civilian torí pé òun náà plan láti jẹ president ayéòdè tí mò ń gbà náà. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ni wípé Sani Abacha tẹ̀lé gbogbo àjọsọpọ̀ àwọn arẹwà wípé láyé o a gbọ́dọ̀ gbéjọba fún south, pàápàá jùlọ south west ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wọn gbọ́dọ̀ gbàjọba. I then ask what he would want done in the circumstances, and he said, I don't want to appear ungrateful to Sani Abacha. He may not be bright upstairs, but he knows how to overthrow government and overpower coup plotters. He saw to my coming to office in 1985 and to my protections in many coups I faced in the past, especially the Oka coup of 1990, where he saved me and my family, including my infant daughter. He went on, Sani, you know, risked his life to get me into office in 1983 and 1985. If he says that he does not want Chief Abiola, I will not force Chief Abiola on him. I just have to end the whole matter and go back to the place of my birth. That is the way I feel now. Ó hàn gbangba bí pé Babangida bẹ̀rù Sani Abacha gan. Ó dẹ̀ tún respect ẹ̀ torí pé Sani Abacha wà nínú àwọn tó jẹ́ kó di president tó lọ lò sábàbí fún tí wọ́n bá plan coup tó dẹ̀ fi sípò. Torí òfin tí wọ́n ti ṣe nílẹ̀ north tí àwọn àríwá ti ṣe láàrin ara wọn pé ọmọ Yorùbá kò gbọdọ̀ dépò olórí ní Nàìjíríà, kò gbọdọ̀ dépò aláṣẹ, kò gbọdọ̀ dépò ààrẹ president. Ó ní Sani Abacha respect ọ̀rọ̀ yìí gan. Òun ò dẹ̀ lè gbéná wojú ẹkùn Sani Abacha torí pé òun àdí àfibi ṣolóore tó ń bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Nítorí ẹ̀ ó rẹ́dì láti annul June 12. He also named Lieutenant General Dogoyaro and Brigadier General David Mark. David Mark wá padà jẹ́ Senate President. Ṣẹ́ra burú tí wọ́n ṣe fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ó ní Lieutenant General Dogoyaro àti Brigadier General David Mark, àwọn náà wà nínú àwọn dé tóun dárúkọ tí wọ́n jẹ́ ológun, who were too close to him and would want to issue resolved within the shortest possible time. In fact, he quoted David Mark as saying, I'd shoot Chief Abiola the day NEC pronounces him the elected president. Wọ́n ní David Mark sọ pé òun máa pa Abiola ní òun máa yìnbọn pa ni INEC bá lè dárúkọ pé òun ló win. I asked the president what he would want me to do in the face of the threat of his life and the life of the incoming president. He again volunteered another issue from out of the blue, which I shall discuss later. The president was in fact at that stage thinking of the military successor when he said, I wish I can just call my boys and hand over to David Mark and pack my luggage and go to Mina. I thought this was strange, but that was how his mind was working. As of that date and time, 1 p.m. on June 21, 1993, he definitely said he would have to retire with the generals, including Sani Abacha and Joshua Dogoyaro, before handing over to David Mark. He was very categorical in this matter. He said he did not foresee a situation in which Abacha and Dogoyaro could be in one government. These two officers individually saw themselves as the maker of President Babangida and also considered themselves as their apparent. The order of succession of General Babangida was an issue which would occur later. I reminded him of one stark fact which he did not quite appreciate. I told him that the report from the Nigeria Election Monitoring Group showed that Chief MK Abiola secured majority votes in all the polling booths located around the army barracks in the country, which meant that it was only the senior officers who, for their selfish reasons, were opposed to democratic change. He did not respond to this. I also reminded him of the study which the Chief of Defence Staff did, which demonstrated that the need to intervene was too high among his junior officers, especially those from the north. He also did not respond. He then volunteered the information that the boys had given him an ultimatum at Mina to choose between vacating office that week on his own or else put a seal to conclusion on the annulment of the whole June 12 election that week. As a matter of fact, he said that they wanted to annul the election themselves over the weekend on June 12, 1993, with a single announcement while he was with them at Mina. But he pleaded with them to give him a few days to work out the modality for doing it, so as to give the impression that he was still in command of the situation. I thought that he was taking the Nigerian people for a ride, but for how long I then caught him. It means you have already made up your mind to abort the democratization project. He did not respond. This meant that he had already agreed to the annulment with his boys at the Mina meeting. I decided to probe further. I asked, is that all the day? Are there still more? To which he said, yes, geoethnic factor. The next set of people unhappy about June 12 was represented by the Sultan of Sokoto. Oh God, Yoruba nǹkan ti ṣe wá Ọlọ́run. Àwọn dẹ́ bá wọn ṣọ̀rẹ́. Àwọn dẹ́ fọkàn sí pé kan náà ni gbogbo wa. Ẹ wo aburú tá ara bí plan kalẹ̀. Ẹ wo coup tó ga tó plan kalẹ̀ fún Yorùbá. And we are too shallow. Our level of reasoning is too shallow, it's too small. Débi pé àrò tọrọ. The next set of people unhappy about June 12 was represented by the Sultan of Sokoto, who want him not to undo the many years of Saldana's achievement for the north, which means tó bá gbéjọba fún kí Tinubu gan ṣọ́ra o, kó ṣọ́ra fáwọn Fulani yìí o. So gbígbéjọba fún Yorùbá is undoing the long-term achievement of Sultan of Sokoto. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bú bàbá Wọlé Ṣóyínká, tẹ́ ń rí dínkù bàbá yẹn, ẹ ṣe jẹ́ kó rí yín pé ná. Bí gbogbo ayé bá tiẹ̀ ń bú ṣó tọ́ sáwọn ọmọ Yorùbá náà láti máa bá wọn bú Wọlé Ṣóyínká. Ẹ ti ní dementia, kò rí òpè mọ́ ni, kò ní làákàyè mọ́ ni, ṣó tọ́ sáwọn Yorùbá. kò tọ́ sí wa o, kò tọ́ sí wa, kò tẹ́ ẹ kó máa gbẹnu wa jáde. Ẹ já máa kà lọ. Sódà Sultan Sokoto gangan àwọn ganan plan coup against Abiola. Abiola dẹ̀ lọ bẹ̀ á kún wọn lówó nùtùnùtùnùtùlù. Irú Yorùbá náà máa dùn pé Sultan wá. Ṣé ẹ ríran wò? Oh God. The Sultan told him that the election of Chief MKO Abiola, who he liked as a person and as a fellow Muslim, would enable the Yoruba to reverse the gains which the North had recorded since 1960. Ọ̀gá tí wọ́n ṣe lé wa lórí 1960 á di nǹkan tó máa tú Yorùbá lẹ̀ tí Yorùbá máa ráyè tó bá lè gbé Fábíọ́lá. Ṣé ẹ ti gbọ́? Ẹ wo plan wọn, ẹ wo tán nílẹ̀ mi tó fi àná June 12. Àfi kí Yorùbá ronú o, àfi ká ronú gan. He reminded me that the Sultan had sent a message through me to him in May, saying that he should not allow the election to go forward. Suddenly he exploded. Sultan was right after all. I should have stopped it then and the country would have settled down by now. He told me that the Yoruba in the presidency were openly parading themselves in the villa, saying that Rakadede in northern or Hausa Fulani hegemony, that is northern or Hausa Fulani hegemony, will soon give way to Kabiyesi southern or Yoruba hegemony. And he exploded again, banging the table. Not here, Professor, not here, wallahi, not here. He offered an apology. I am sorry to speak this way. Then he continued. These people just think that without them, Nigeria cannot move forward. The Igbos should teach them the lesson of history, said the president, shocking me to the marrow of my bones. It was clear that the mistake of 1914 had taken a new turn for General Babangida to speak in that way. It was the greatest mistake. Inú mi dùn ibi tí bàbá ìsọ yìí, that the greatest mistake of 1914, kí ni mistake yẹn? Joining Yoruba together with others to form Nigeria. It was the greatest mistake. Ó ti gbá jáde everybody lójú, ó ti ń clear and say that it was a very and greatest mistake. Pàápàá jùlọ joining us with Igbos and Hausas. We have no reason to join any tribe. We are already our country. We are already a nation now. What bothered me was that during the period Yoruba in Abuja had withdrawn to Lagos holding parties, thereby allowing the annulments to take over Abuja and consolidate. General Babangida even distanced himself from his chief press secretary, Chief Duru Onobule, who was the former editor of Chief Abiola's newspaper, National Concord. Even the vice president, Admiral Augustus Saikomu from Edo State in the south, was also isolated. He did not know what was going on. During this period, he confided in some people that he knew next to nothing about the president's thinking. I tried to advise the president not to believe in rumors, but he fired back. Don't you know that Chief MKO Abiola had already compiled a list of officers he would retire? Don't you know that he has Yoruba he wants to put in their place? Don't you know he wants to move Abuja? The president went on. Don't you know all these things? Abiola's rice, Abiola's milk, Abiola's vegetable oil currently circulating in the market. These were rumors circulating in Abuja, which Chief Abiola, as the presidential candidate and the SDP as a party, did not forcefully address during this period. These rumors achieved their intended objective. I should say that the authors of these rumors were largely Yoruba security officers who made it their duty to circulate in many of Abiola's parties and file stories to Abuja. I say many of these reports myself. I saw many of these reports myself. Ṣé torí tún tí Yorùbá náà pa? pé tábíọ́lá bá débẹ̀ Abíọ́lá máa fáyà gbogbo àwọn other ethnics tó jẹ́ tí wọ́n wà ní iṣẹ́ ológun ó ti ẹgbẹ́ ti ní list àwọn Yorùbá tó máa kó sí i. Bákan náà ni pé gbogbo oúnjẹ tí wọ́n pín tó wà sàkútẹ́ bá rántí gbà yẹn iyọ̀ Abíọ́lá ráìsì Abíọ́lá òróró Abíọ́lá kódà gbogbo nǹkan ti sáré wálẹ̀. Àwa tá a bá rántí ní June 12 ní 1993 gbogbo nǹkan ti ń sáré wálẹ̀ kíákíá nígbà náà. Kó jẹ́ pọ́n jẹ́ kábíọ́lá wọlé ni Ọlọ́run ló mọ pò tí Nàìjíríà bá wà sí. Ní ìgbà náà tẹ́ ẹ bá rántí dáadáa gbèsè wa tá a jẹ IMF sọ pé àwọn rẹ́dì láti cancel external debt wa tábíọ́lá bá wọlé. Those are the factors táwọn northerners wò, and Abiola has a very serious and powerful international connection. Ẹ̀rù bà Fulani nígbà náà wípé they will undo all atrocities táwọn ti ṣe kalẹ̀ sí Nàìjíríà, headed by Sultan of Sokoto, láti tako Abiola láti má débẹ̀. Ọmọ Yorùbá níbo là ń lọ? Ọmọ Yorùbá kí la fẹ́ ṣe? Náà Yorùbá náà ló wà ńbẹ̀, bọ̀tí táwa ń sọ ni pé lẹ́yìn tí Yorùbá yìí bá kú òun bẹ̀ tán àti gbọ́ gbogbo tú táwọn nọ́tánà ń sọ sí, ẹ gbọ́ gbogbo vendetta tó wà lẹ́nu wọn, ẹ gbọ́ gbogbo plan tán ní that in this country never must Yorùbá be there. That is their plan. Káwa Yorùbá wa lọ rorí sìn ká plan nǹkan tá a bá fẹ́ ṣe ń tá a fẹ́ ò ní pé kí Yorùbá kí ká settle scores. The amalgamation of 1914 supposed never to come up at all at the first instance, but the mistake has been made, the deed has been done. Now that it has expired according to the rules táwọn náà fi lélẹ̀ after 100 years that you people can separate, now the Yorubas are calling for separation. Nǹkan táwọn northern plan for wa rèé o, olè yìí náà ń gbọ́ sétí that never must the Yoruba rule in this country. Tàti wá rúlù yẹn wọ́n ń bọ̀ wá fìyà jẹ wá o, àdè ready láti jìyà mọ́. Báwo làwọn ọmọ wa tó ń bọ̀ ṣe ní jìyà? Àwa young generation tá wà bẹ́ẹ̀ sí báwo làwọn ò ṣe ní jìyà? Àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń bọ̀ báwo náà ṣe ní jìyà? Ó kù sẹ́yìn ó kù sí ọwọ́ ẹ̀yìn bàbá wa tẹ̀ ti lọ. Tó bá jókòó ẹrú lẹ tó fẹ́ dá wa padà sí òkè, ẹ jẹ́ á máa kígbe wọn Nàìjíríà tipátipá. Ẹyọ kan péré òun ni wọ́n ní ká mú kúrò nínú wàhálà Nàìjíríà yẹn. Ṣẹ́ni báwọn nọ́tánà ṣe yarí? Ẹyọ kan péré, open grazing, and the root of Nigeria security problem open grazing ni. Gbogbo wọn dẹ̀ nìkan mú kúrò ńbẹ̀, Fulani nìkan ní fọkàn níṣò. Look at it. Fún tán plan fún wa lẹ ti gbọ́ ìran káwa Yorùbá wa rúrí wa. Oníyanṣẹ́ ọlọ́kà ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ tẹ́ bá mi gbogbo ìmọ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ẹ nípa pẹ́lẹ́ nìjúbà ti ṣe ń pẹ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ torí pé omi pọ̀ lámù láyọ̀.
BGI TV yìí mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. BGI TV mo fẹ́ máa wò, ọ̀rọ̀ tó jẹ tí ń gbèsè mo fẹ́ gbọ́, ètò lóríṣiríṣi wọ́n wà lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan, ìròyìn tó kojú òṣùwọ̀n àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ àgbọ́ fi kọ́gbọ́n, eré wọlé fún tẹ̀rù tọmọ tèwe tàgbà ẹ má fi para. Àdànà kó kọjá mọ́rí nǹkan fèrè, bàbá rìnrìn káwí parí. BGI TV, we are the pace setters. Bàbá gbàgede ìmọ̀ tẹlifíṣọ̀n station tí dòde.